Good evening, everybody. Wow, that was a lot easier than it's been in the past. Welcome again to Cafe Catholica. We are here. We're so happy to see you all in person again this week for Cafe Catholica. And the first thing I have to say is that I'm very sorry about last week, that it was all canceled. And I'm also very sorry for those of you who tried to sign on to the online. It was my very biggest hope to try and get the online thing going, and it just did not work because of the whole power thing. So I'm sure you all are, we're struggling with the same things, and we're just glad everyone's safe. Hopefully everyone is safe and weathered the storm well. But we are very glad you all are here this week. We're glad to kick this off. And we also just want to say a quick hello to those who are viewing on the live stream. So we are having the live stream of Cafe Catholica each week. My name is Angie Pimetto, and I'm the director of the Office of Young Adult and Campus Ministry. And I'm joined by
Carmel De Los Santos, and I'm on the Cafe Catholica team.
And just as a reminder, I know I've mentioned it already today, but Cafe Catholica is 100% funded through our corporate sponsors, who hopefully you got to meet during the dinner, but also through donations from young adults like you. And I think you guys saw our fundraiser. I don't know if we ended up crossing we were very close to crossing our goal. 1903 of 2000 that we need to. We did it? All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And just so you know, that's not for the whole program. That's just for this week. So when you come back next week, we'll do the same spiel. Anyway, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. So tonight is Spirit Night. So thanks to everyone who is showing spirit this week. Let's see if we can call out some of the things we have spirit for. Astros. I saw some of those jerseys. Oh my gosh, are we not?
Quiet.
Nope.
Okay.
Do we not have any Astros fans here? Wow. Let's go Stros. All right, how about Star Wars? I saw some. And like the Bayou Awakening table. I saw that. Yes. Let's see. Anybody from any football fans? I think I saw some Argentina, Colombia, Mexico. Yes. And I also saw some Filipino basketball jerseys. Yeah.
Wow.
Salamat, y'all. Salamat.
And I think I saw a few universities listed here. Anyone here from the University of Houston? How about the University of St. Thomas? And here's the other one. How about Texas A&M? Okay, we got some, and I'll just do a few of the smaller ones. Sam Houston? Anyone from Sam Houston? Hey, look at that. Texas Tech? Okay. How about University of Texas? There we go. And I forgot yours. Good for you too. For those who are college age, and hopefully you guys all have your booklets. So for those of you who are college age, we do want to especially invite you to the Bayou Awakening Retreat. That is a really special retreat coming up this October. The information is found on page 33 of your booklets. And especially if you are someone who's maybe attending a local community college, or if you went to a trade school, or if you took a gap year, or if there's some other instance where you're here at home. Bayou Awakening is a great retreat for you to get you plugged in, to get some good community here in Houston, and it's going to be it's a really great retreat. So, all right, I put that. I'll skip that. Okay, go ahead, Carmel.
I mean, I'll ask it. All right, but so last week was a little rough. So who has spirit for air conditioning and electricity? Woo! Bless. Hallelujah. And so tonight, we also want to highlight the Cafe Connect discussion groups. Hopefully, y'all got to meet some of the 40 facilitators for the program. They were mingling around in the parish hall. And for those who don't know, Cafe Connect seeks to help young adults connect and find community here in Houston. These discussion groups are a great way to make some new friends while also going deeper into the topics discussed at Cafe. I know we started this, in 2020, deep in pandemic era. And I know from those groups, there's been a lot of fruit and a lot of great friendships have been built from that. And the discussions that we've had each year just go dive deeper, and just a great opportunity to mix with a small group and just, be able to talk freely and just openly discuss some things on our hearts and minds and that affect us as young adults. And so you do need to register for a group. And to do that, you go to cafecatholica.com. And on that site,
.org, I think.
I think it is .com.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or you can go to archgh.org/Cafe Catholica. And on there, you'll see a big red Connect button. And there you'll see a full list of our facilitators, their bios, photos, and times and locations they're meeting each week. And so when you're ready to sign up, you click the registration link and you go to a Sign Up Genius. And you can join one of the there's more than 20 groups, so you can just select through there, and there's a whole plethora of days and times for that. So hope you guys will join us. And if you are, we have about 40 facilitators for this program, so if you are serving as a facilitator for Cafe Connect, will you please stand? There you go. I bet some of them are. Thank you, guys. So these are the young adults who will be helping facilitate these discussions, and they're very excited to meet you guys and have you join their groups. My husband and I are also looking forward to meeting some of you this week. We meet on Thursday. Thanks. So sign up. Angie, do you think people should sign up?
Absolutely, yeah. So the Connect groups, I think one of the biggest, one of the negative feedback that we get sometimes with Cafe is that it feels so big that it is hard to connect, right? So if you came here tonight, if you're new to Houston, if you're a new young adult, if you didn't really come with already a set friend group, like the Connect groups are a really great way for you to try and meet some new people this summer. And even if you do have a friend group, I think all of us, or all of you, we're all seeking our vocation, we're all seeking connection, we're all seeking more friends, more connections, more relationships in our lives. Who knows how the Lord will work if you take that step and give him 4 weeks of your summer, 3 weeks now. Yeah, he's got a plan. To take that leap of faith, it might feel a little scary, but when we take out that step out in faith, I think God often blesses us. So I encourage you guys to do it. Of our 20 groups, we also have 2 men's groups, one from Ascension Chinese Mission and one from St. Joseph Parish. So if you're a young adult man and you definitely want to learn, just build up the youthful masculine spirit, we would love for that to happen. Tenemos 3 grupos disponibles para aquellos que quieren discutir temas en español. Did I do that right? Yeah. Okay, bueno. Estoy trabajando on mi español. So anyway, 3 groups available in Spanish, in case you missed that. Also, just a few more notes. You do not have to attend every Monday in order to attend a Cafe Connect group. That was another question we had last year. So each Connect group, if you miss the Monday night talk, you're going to keep getting more content. So there's more to read, there's more to discuss. You're not going to, you will miss something, and we want you to come, obviously, on Mondays. But if you can't make it to all the Mondays, it's okay. Still sign up for a Connect group, okay? We really encourage you. These are a really great program. Sign up tonight. The groups are continuing this week. Actually, a couple of the groups met last week, not very many. So we want to really kick it off this week, a week late, but we're still going to get there. So please sign up tonight. It's first thing tomorrow morning. We'll be getting the names out to the group leaders so they can reach out to you and get you started. So.
Perfect. Thank you, Angie.
Yeah.
And so now we want to transition into the talk portion of the evening. Tonight's talk is Encountering Christ in the Eucharist, Revival of the Heart. So there is a QR code in your booklets on page 4, and there's also a link online for those viewing the live stream. You can submit questions at any point tonight, and we'll close the night with some Q&A with Bob. And now we want to welcome our speaker. There he is. He's hiding. Bob Lesnefsky. He serves as Director of Evangelization at Franciscan University. He has spent most of his life sharing the hope of God's love with inner city kids in the nonprofit he started, Vagabond Missions. Bob, aka Righteous B, is also a washed-up, award-winning Christian hip-hop artist and speaker who uses rap music to share the gospel. Bob and his wife, Kate, both Franciscan University alumni, live in Steubenville, Ohio, with their 7 children. Bob also has a ton of stupid tattoos. Please welcome Bob Lesnefsky.
Check. All right. You guys seem a lot less excited than I thought you would be, but that's better. All right. That's fine. Okay. Let's start with a song. So maybe you could just bow your heads. Just kind of close your eyes. Jesus, I love you. No, I'm just I'm not. All right. I've seen this girl right here. What's your name? Like in the jacket. You. What's your name? Yeah. What is it? Hannah? I saw Hannah. Like she opened one eye because she wasn't sure, but I saw her go like this. She was like, but then I could tell she was embarrassed. She was into it, and she like opened one eye, like, and saw everyone laughing. So I'm sorry, Hannah. All right, this is good. This is a good crowd. All right, so no, that was a joke. That was a joke song. So that my real song, when I do a song in a couple minutes, you'll be like, oh, that was so much better than the joke song. So my name is Bob. Whoa. It's not even my guitar, but I'm going to put it over here for now. All right, so my name is Bob. Hi, Bob. Are there any other Bobs out there? I know I met a deacon named Bob, so I know there's at least one. Any other Bobs in the back? Your name's Bob, or you're the deacon that I met named Bob? Okay, yeah, that's the one. Is there any other Bobs out there? No. Okay, so look, I want to tell you this. This is a young adult night, all right? So that means some of you already have, I saw a baby here. That was awesome over there. Some of you are already married. Some of you already have babies. But some of you, so I'm speaking to the ladies for a second, like some of you in the near future will have babies. And I want to start our talk on encounter by telling you that, like, when you have that baby, a great name for that baby would be Bob. All right? I want you to think back at how this night touched you, and the one request I had was just for one kid named Bob. I mean, think how funny that would be. This is my baby, Bob. You know what I mean? Be awesome. All right. It's a dying name, though. It's only deacons and dads that are named. But my dad's named Bob. My wife's dad is named Bob. And then, like, I know no one else named Bob anymore. So don't let it die, Houston. All right. All right. So before we get into the meat of the talk, that was some of the talk, all right? But before we get into the more talk, I want to just do a mixer, like it's a little thing here. We're going to get to see some fun facts about each other because, let's be honest, some of you came here to fall in love, all right? I know that. I only know that because my one friend, I can't say her name out loud, she's sitting in one of the back, a few rows, so you use your imagination, but she is looking for a boyfriend, kind of emo, so if that's you, make your way. At some point during the night, make your way to the back and glance around the last couple rows. That's where the emo kids are sitting, all right? All right, but for everyone else, even if you're not looking for love, this is going to be a good chance to get to know each other a little bit. Okay, so why don't you stand up where you're at, You're not going to have to talk to anyone, all right? Look. So what you're going to do, the name of this game is real quick, and it's going to get down to one person. That person is going to be the winner, and they are going to win. And well, no, there were some in the pews earlier. I was going to give you a bottle of hand sanitizer, but they must have taken it out after Mass. So things like this don't happen. They found out. Give me that. All right, the winner of this game gets this bottle of hand sanitizer, rinse-free. You don't even got to rinse, all right? Yeah, it's that good. All right, so here's how the game works. It's called sit down if. So you sit down if what I say is true. So if I said, sit down if your toes are showing, you would sit down. It didn't start yet, though, so it doesn't count, okay? It doesn't count, all right? But if you know your friend is lying, just turn to him and be like, come on, don't lie, just... All right, so stick it out. Everyone understand how the game works? All right, raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, so help me Bob, will tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So help me Bob. All right, here we go. Sit down if you have ever been in a hot air balloon. You've ever gone in a hot air balloon. Okay, there were a couple. There were a couple. All right, sit down if you have ever pierced your own ear. You've ever pierced your own ear. Paul, wow, bro. You look like you would pierce your own ear. All right. Sit down if you have a tattoo on your ankle. You have a tattoo on your ankle. I didn't realize that was so funny, but if you got a tattoo on your ankle, sit down. Sit down. I have one, but I'm not going to sit down because I'm playing the game. All right. Sit down if your fingernails are painted black. You're probably emo in the back row back there. Okay. Sit down if you are wearing yellow socks, like they're supposed to be yellow, the color yellow. All right, right there. All right. Thank you for your honesty. All right. Sit down if you are wearing Reebok. You're wearing Reebok brand shoes or slides or something. All right. All right. Sit down if you have ever been to Hawaii. You've ever been to Hawaii. All right. Must be nice, right, guys? All right. Sit down if you rode a bike here tonight. You rode a bicycle here tonight. Oh, I was like, wow. All right, here we go. How about this one? For all the animal lovers out there. Sit down if you have two dogs. Not one, but two dogs at home. You got two dogs? All right. Sit down if you have two cats. If you got two cats at home. That's too many cats, but sit down if you got... All right, sit down if you have pet fish. You have any fish at home. Like you got an aquarium with some fish in it. I've seen at least one. All right, sit down if you are currently eating a gluten-free diet. Gluten-free diet. I know there's more than that guy. There's one person sat down. That's a lie. All right, sit down if this week you ate at Whataburger. If this week you ate at Whataburger. Sit down if today at any point you ate a taco. You ate a taco. Sit down if you ever dressed as a taco for Halloween. I was a taco this past Halloween. That's why I'm asking. I found this thing at the thrift store. It was a taco costume. All right. Sit down if you have a sister named Mary. Okay, there's a couple in the middle. Sit down if your middle name, think of your middle name, if it has the letter A in it, in your middle name. Wow. I didn't know that was such a big thing down here in Houston. All right. Think of your mom's name right now, not the name Mom, but her actual name, if it starts with the letter M, sit down. Sit down if it starts with the letter M. All right, here we go. Sit down if you have ever broken your arm. You've ever broken your arm, either arm. All right. Sit down if you've ever broken a leg. Sit down if you've ever broken a leg. Sit down if you've ever broken someone else's leg. All right. Sit down if the color of the car you came here tonight in was black. It was black. All right. All right. Sit down if you have a bracelet on. You have a bracelet on. Sit down. A bracelet. Sit down if you have a mustache. Or a mustache connected to a beard, right?
A little bit, it might be a little less muffled.
Oh, okay, that's good to know. He told me, like, get on it. All right. Sorry about the muffliness of the microphone. I'm going to try and step back. All right. Sit down if you have so much pink on, your glasses are pink, everything is pink, like on, I know, it's that girl right there. Like, I could, like, barely look. All I saw over here was, like, a pink blur. You know, it was you. All right. I was just trying to get you out of my field of vision. It was too much pink. All right. No, I'm just kidding. It's cute. All right. Sit down if you have a pet snake. How about a pet reptile? Well, just anyone in the reptile family. Sisters? No? All right. All right. Sit down if you're a nun, but you secretly smoke cigarettes. I'm not saying y'all do. I'm just trying to find out. I'm trying to find out, all right? All right. It's not, you guys acting like that was so offensive. It was just a joke. All right. Sit down if you are wearing open-toed shoes. Open-toed shoes. None of y'all are wearing open-toed shoes? All right. Sit down if you have a ring. If you have a ring on any of your fingers, a ring. Okay. All right. All right. Sit down if you have ever been to Canada. I mean, wait, that's pretty big. Only one of the two of you? All right. As it was coming out of my mouth, I realized it was pretty basic. But all right, I'm glad that. So who's left? Raise your hand just so I can see who's left. Someone short over here. Okay, this guy. All right. So how about this one? Sit down if you, not messing around, okay? Like not as a joke, you've ever punched someone in the face. Okay, all right. This just got real. It's just got very real. All right, here we go. Sit down if you have ever cut your own hair. You ever cut your own hair? Okay, all right. So who's left? We got 3 left? 4 left? We got a female. Are you the only female left? Right here? Okay, sit down for your girl. No, I'm just kidding. It's a joke. Stay standing. All right. Sit down if the color of the house, apartment, building you live in is white. You live in a white building. Okay. All right. Sit down if in the past week you cut grass. You mowed lawn, either your lawn or someone else's lawn. Okay. Sit down if you've ever stabbed someone. I'm just trying to find some stuff out here, all right? I'm running out of ideas. All right, here we go. How about this one? Sit down if in the last week you had a milkshake. Man, you guys have never done nothing, man. All right, how about this one? Sit down if, think of your last name right now. Sit down if it ends in the letter E? Sit down if your last name has the letter O in it. Oh, my man, come on up. But he sat down? There's still one more? Oh, two more. All right. That guy, I feel like you just stood up all of a sudden, bro, in the back. Right. All right, sit down if you're a liar in the back. All right. Now we go. Sit down if your dad, his name has the letter B in it. Sit down. Sit down if you have ever gone skydiving. Sit down if so far this summer you've gone to see a movie in the movie theater. A movie in the movie theater. No, these guys are tough. All right. Oh, you did. You didn't. What's that? He's not sure. All right. Sit down if you almost sat down for the last one. All right. All right. The guy, come on up here. Come on, the last guy, you win. No, not you, bro. You lost. The guy in the back. Okay, can you give this to that guy? Are we going to switch?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I don't know what to do. So just turn that off. Can I sing the song in this real quick? And I'll do a little bit better.
Yes, well, this mic isn't working very well in the back.
Like, isn't coming through?
No, it's not very clear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go, bro. What's your name? What is it? Ruben? That's a good name, bro. You got some nice hair? Whoa. All right, man. All right. Great job. I just wanted to say thank you. You want to give a speech? I thought that's what you were coming up back up to the mic for, but all right. Let's have a round of applause for Ruben. All right. Good job, man. All right. That was better. I like that. All right. Let me grab it. All right, how's that hand sanitizer, Ruben? It's good, right? You don't even got to rinse it. It's awesome. All right, I'm going to switch to the other mic after this. I think it might be better now that we're not all laughing and talking, but can you not hear this in the back still? It's better? Yeah, sorry. I was just trying to be louder than you, so it was muffled, so I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Don't blame me, blame this church's sound system. All right, I'm actually going to sing this from up there because it'll pick up the guitar a little bit. All right, can you hear that? All right. All right, so this song is it's a little prayer. The words to the chorus is, I don't have much, but I have a heart that beats for you, all right? And so that's just where we're going to start tonight, with that prayer, that it doesn't matter where you're coming from, doesn't matter who you are, what you've done, if you, it just doesn't matter. Like the point is we're here and God is here, and that's the equation we're looking for tonight. So we're just kind of saying that to God, like, hey, I'm here, hopefully that's enough, because we don't have a whole lot more than that to offer God, and somehow he loves us anyway. So let's just do this. I had someone once who was teaching me about prayer said, you should never start praying until you take a moment and just realize that God is present. Now here in our church, God is physically present. And that not only to imagine that, to realize that he's present, but we take a moment to realize that he's present and that he looks at you with love. Okay, so let's just take a second of silence, remind ourselves that we are really in the presence of God. We're not playing pretend. That's the kind of encounter we're talking about tonight, and that God delights in you. As weird as that is, God is here, and he's delighting in you. So let's just close our eyes, take a second, and take that in, and we'll start. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. I don't have much, but I have a heart
heart that beats for you. I have a heart that beats for you. Try that. I don't have much. I don't have much. I don't have much. But I have a heart that beats for you. I have a heart that beats for you. Now thinking back to the years, reminiscing, and how these tears now, they seem so reminiscent. All the times I never heard your voice, I was missing. These love songs, I never ever listened, and tears shed, I never seen them glisten. 1,000 thrones I will never ever sit in. Spend more time thinking about my foolish ambitions of 1,000 mics I will never ever spit in. You beckon me to follow, I counted on my vision. You offer me a home, I said hold up in this prison. Not doing as I'm told, I'm prone to opposition. Even if I did, would I give you recognition that my heart's a part of your property? You know I always tend to do things awkwardly, and if you're as persistent as you seem to be, could you make up this distance between you and me, I pray. I don't have much, I don't have much, but I have a heart that beats for you. I have a heart that beats for you. I don't have a much, I don't have a much. I have a heart that beats for you. I have a heart that beats for you. I may not be who I want to be. I'm not who I used to be. They tell me be yourself, but that could possibly ruin me. I'm here, dodging these obstacles you threw. My philosophy proves to be what's gotten me through. See, every time I write a rhyme, instead of trying to nice these lines, trying to find a dime and interrupt the shines, hide the mire, the childish, covered under grimace. Never enough time, I'm dying just to die. Thus the cycle, it continues from the venues to the windows where I begin to stare off into the distance, scared. Witness my redemption. The cross across the face of fear is not as heavy if we share. And if you grip it here, you can have a piece of my soul if you're willing to. Hold it close, but let it go and it'll finish you. Every time you hear something I wrote, you get a clue as to how to get out of that hole that you fit into. I don't have much, I don't have a much, but I have a heart that beats for you. I have a heart that beats for you. I don't have a much, I don't have a much, but I have a heart that beats for you. I have a heart that beats for you. Dear Jesus, we thank you for your love. We thank you for your invitation tonight. We thank you for allowing us into this space where you are present. Lord, I pray that tonight you would encounter us. Whatever that needs to mean for each one of us, that we would be found by you, and we'd be seen by you and loved by you. Lord, I ask that you would make your way past any walls or obstacles, hurdles that we put up, and that you would you'd pull us close to you for a moment tonight. Help us understand a little bit more that your love is real, and that your love is here tonight. Pray this in your name, Lord. Amen. Okay, y'all sounded awesome. I heard you singing, this guy. My Filipino contingent getting it done.
I had dinner with a lot of Filipinos last night. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Like, we were going around the table, I realized everyone was Filipino except me, basically. You know, like, and I just gotta tell you, like, so I lived down here in Houston like 20 years ago, and it's so good to be around brown people again because, yeah. I just where I live, there's no Asians, there's no like Latinos, man. It's like good to be around y'all. So anyway, that's all for you. All right, all right. So let's zoom back in for a second. So my name is Bob. You guys remember that part? Me and the deacon back there, both named Bob. And I am from Steubenville. I work at Franciscan University of Steubenville. So some of my homies over there, some alumni here. I was talking to some people earlier in the back. Yeah, there's someone. But also, yeah, I mean, you heard the bio. But yeah, I'm married. Sorry, ladies, I know. But like, I got a bunch of kids, 7 kids. My oldest kid is getting married in a month. It was just wild. Yeah. I didn't really do anything for that, but thank you for clapping. But I thought I would start off. I'm gonna put my phone down so I don't go too long or get distracted. But I want to start off just by talking about relationship for a second, because this is kind of a cool thing. We did that little thingy there where it was like we stood up and got to know like weird little facts about each other and that kind of stuff. But one thing that is kind of cool is that every person longs for, hey. Every person longs for relationship. All right, and that's like a weird thing, because you know, I think sometimes like we think, well, we're all different and we have different longings and different, but like ultimately, like we all have the same longing. Like we want to be loved and we want to love someone else. Like that's a deep longing within the human heart. It's not like most people here are longing for relationship or encounter, and there's a couple that are longing for mustard or something. You know, it's like we all have the same universal longing. Okay, so I just want to like start off by just addressing that for a second. So I got a cute little story to tell you from my romantic past. You know, I'm married. I've been married for 25 years, so you know, like something must have worked, right? All right, because yeah, it's awesome this year. So when I was little, when I was a wee little lad, I was in 3rd grade. There was this one time, all right, that I grew up like in Philadelphia, and like at the time of the season, like, or maybe just at the time of my life, like it was like where like guys and girls were on the same like soccer team. Like at some point that gets weird, but like at that point it was still fine, I guess. And it was also like the same time where like it was okay if like you and your buddy liked the same person. You know, like so for me, it was my buddy. His name was Scott. All right, and we'd always talk about this one girl, Terry. She was on our soccer team, and I was goalie, and like Scott was good at soccer, and he would run around the field and look cool and stuff, and I was in goalie, and like we would like sometimes like on the way home, like we'd be like driving like home. His dad would give us a ride a lot, and I remember he'd like we weren't driving, we were in the back talking about Terry, you know, like little 3rd grade nerds, and you know, we'd be like, dude, Terry's so hot. He'd be like, yeah, dude, Terry, oh, you know, whatever. So this one time, like it was like his indoor season or whatever, but he says, he's like, what are you gonna give Terry for Valentine's Day? And I was like, I have no idea, you know. I didn't tell him that, you know, but like I was like in my head, I was like, I'm probably like the same like perforated Transformer cars my mom gets from like CVS or something, you know, like, and I was like, what'd you get her? You know, you tell me first, you know, like, and he's like, well, come check it out. Like when we got to his house, like we go like in his room and like on this desk, he's like, check it out, you know, and I look on the desk and there's like a picture he had drawn. It's like a pencil sketch. Could have been charcoal, I don't know, but like it was elegant, all right, and it was this boy Bugs Bunny like giving a girl Bugs Bunny a flower. He was kneeling like down in front, and I was like thinking to myself, I was like, that's pretty good, man, for like a 3rd grader. Like I was like, man, that's definitely like I'm definitely screwed, you know, like, and because I was like, there's so many things that were stacked up against me, right? Like my buddy Scott, his last name was Justice. Okay, Scott Justice. Like, you know, if you're born like your last name is Justice, you're gonna have a good life. All right, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Just think of your name, whatever it is right now, with Justice. How much better does that, cooler does that sound? You know, like, be like, hey, Bob Justice, nice to meet you. You know. Instead, I was Bobby Lesnefsky. You know, that's what they call me. I was like, Bobby Lesnefsky, you know. Like, and Scott, man, he had, like, spiked hair. This was, like, cool at the time. I had, like, a tail. But, like, my mom didn't let me have a tail. You know, it was weird. But anyway, I was just everything. And then he drew this picture. I was like, man, I really, there's no chance I'm going to win Terry. So then I was walking home that night, and I was, like, thinking in my little third-grade brain. I was like, I got to think of something. I got to think of something here, you know. And I remembered that year for Christmas, I got this thing. It's not a very popular gift anymore, but maybe someone out there received this before, but it's called a rock tumbler. A rock tumbler. Has anyone ever had one of those? Okay, right here. All right, you look like maybe you'd have a rock tumbler, but like, no, I'm just kidding, bro. What does that even mean? I had a rock tumbler, bro. You're a good guy. I mean, we both have beards, bro. It's a joke. All right. Anytime I say anything, man, when I like said about the sister smoking, it was like, oh. All right. Anyway, you know, a rock tumbler, what it is basically, it sounds like a contraption to make drugs. It's like a barrel. It's like a little plastic barrel that you put crappy looking rocks in, and then it gives you like this like pouch of powder to put in and some water, and this thing just runs incessantly for a couple weeks, like in your basement. Well, you guys don't have basements now, but like, you know, in your garage, and then at the end of 2 weeks you take it and like you have shiny rocks, you know, and it's like, that's it. That's why not many people got rock tumblers, you know. But it's like for the geologist in us, like we were like, man, I was excited about the rock tumbler. So I remember thinking to myself, I just made a batch of these shiny green rocks, and I was like, I'm gonna give her one of those, dude. You know. And so I got home, I got the shiniest green rock of all, and I got one of my mom's, like it was a necklace I never seen her wear, and I took a hot glue gun and put that shiny green rock on the necklace. All right, and then I put it like in one of those long, you know, jewelry cases. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, this is really good, man. You know, like it's just, like things just got elevated in this game, you know, because like I felt like before, like the Bugs Bunny sketch, yeah, cool, you know, but like I was giving actual jewelry to this girl, and I was in 3rd grade, so I was like feeling pretty confident. So the next day, like when at the party, we're putting around all the, you know, our cards, and the guys would all kind of go around together, the girls would go around together, and then I remember I got by Terry's desk and I had it in my back pocket, and, you know, I put it on the desk, and then like all the guys would kind of push our desks together, and the girls would put our desks together, their desks together, and then like we'd be like making piles of the cards, you know, girls we thought were cute or weird, or, you know, or if it said love, you know, Sarah or from Sarah, we'd talk about that, you know, and all this kind of stuff. But then I hear from over there, as they're doing this, I hear all this girl noise happening. It's like, you know, this 3rd grade. You can imagine what, like, and I knew right away. I was like, okay, she got the bling, you know, like she received the item, you know, and I look over and she's looking at the necklace, you know, and all my boys are like, yeah, look, this is it, man. Like this is game time, you know, and we had this thing, like, cause I'm old, right? But we had this before cell phones and like, you know, Snapchat, Hinge, you know, those type of things. Before all these lovely inventions of technology, we had this crazy thing called real life. And what you had to do is like actually communicate with another person. So like the closest thing we can do to like keep them at arm's length was like writing notes, okay? And then every note to a girl would, like at that age at least, would start the same. It would basically be the same. It's just one sentence. It'd be like, dear, you know, Terry, do you like me? Yes, no, maybe. Circle one of these, you know, and then you put like from Love Bob, whatever, you know, and then you give it to like someone to fold it into like a cool shape, like a triangle or something. Then on the outside you write like for Terry's eyes only or something, or like, you know, something like that, you know. And then what happened? So I did this. She got the note, gave it to one of my awkward friends. He ran over to her, right, and then once again I hear all the girl noise, you know. Woo! And I'm like, my boys are really around me now. You know, they're like hyping me up. I'm like, I know, this is it, dude, you know. Like, this is what we live for, you know. They were like walking around like I'm getting all like, I'm nervous and stuff. I'm nervous thinking about it right now. And then all of a sudden, it didn't take long. It was 60 seconds or something. Oh, one of their awkward friends comes running over to deliver it, and I take it. And I'm unfolding this note in front of all my boys, dude. My heart's like, boom, 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 you know, and I'm unfolding it like, and I see it says, you know, dear Terry, do you like me? Yes, no, maybe. Circle one of these. And not only is no circled, all right, like it looks like it's been circled about 10,000 times. Like, I like was like thinking to myself, like, I was like, that was over there for like 60 seconds. Like, I don't know how, like all the girls must have helped her circle no. Like it had so many circles around it, you know? And like, all my boys are looking, you know, and I was like, oh, you know, chicks are dumb or something like that, you know, brushed it off, you know? But in reality, like my little third grade heart was broken because you know, like I started in the beginning, it's like I wanted to be loved. I wanted to be liked. I wanted to be wanted. You know, like there's this desire, even as a little kid, like, you know, it's a desire to be encountered by someone else. And obviously I didn't really even know what that was, encounter, as a third grader. But that's what I wanted. And I'd brush it off. But for so many of us, you know, we have these wounds, and then what we do is we just learn, like, well, I'm never going to get wounded again, and I'm going to put on a shell or an armor or a mask or whatever. And if something gets through that and hurts me, then I'll just put on more armor and all this kind of stuff. And the problem is that not only does that keep others out, it keeps God out ultimately. You know what I mean? Because it's like we just keep pushing, you know, at arm's length away, like, no, I can't, I don't want it, you know, because I just can't take that risk to get hurt. And this isn't a talk on romance, all right? But I think the other huge problem is this perception, is that I think for so many of us, like even at a night like this, you know, like we have these moments where we kind of feel like we're asking God, like we started that off, like, you know, I want you to imagine, God loves you. God is delighted in you. Like he's here just for you. Like, and for a lot of us, that's a weird, hard thing to imagine. If you've ever watched The Chosen, like the Woman at the Well episode, if not, just Google the Woman at the Well episode of The Chosen, and just watch that and think that like the woman at the well is like you. Like it makes you feel so good because like as I was watching, I remember like thinking like, man, I hope like God's that good. And then like, what? Of course God's that, you know, like the chosen people came up with a better version of God than like actually like, you know, but like there's this part of us, I think all of us that are secretly worried that if we were to write that note to God, like, do you like me, God? You know, do you delight in me? Yes, no, maybe. Circle one, like we slid it over God's way. I think a lot of us are really like have this deep fear that maybe God would be like, no. You should know this. You know the things you do. You know the thoughts you have. You know how messed up you are. No, I don't love you. Like there's this horrible, scary thought that like we are unlovable, and all of us have this deep, deep desire to be encountered. You know, to be seen, to be loved, to be wanted. But all of us have this. All of us have this horrible fear that maybe, just maybe, we're unlovable. You know, it's like if you use like deductive like thinking, you know, it'd be like, well, I don't know what it's called. It's called something else. But it's like basically if A is true and B is true, then C is true, you know. And sometimes it leads to really flawed thoughts. But for us, it'd be like, well, A, God hates sin, right? B, I sin a lot. C is God hates me, you know, like it's like a pretty like to me that's not a far jump that most of us like have these thoughts that plague us, like, I mean, how could God really love me? It's not hard for me to think of God loving someone else. You know, I work with inner city kids, and I've worked with kids that have shot people, killed people. Like I've worked with people that have been prostitutes, like, and I have no problem, like, you know, trying to tell them like, this is going to sound so crazy, but God delights in you. Like, he doesn't care what you've done. He's not mad at you. He loves you. I believe that about them. When I'm saying I totally do, but when it comes to us, it's like it's really hard to believe that God desires us. You know, we kind of think like, well, yeah, I mean, I know he loves me, right? Like, we all know that. No one in here, like, if I said, hey, guys, I got news for you. God loves you. Like, everyone in here has heard that before, right? It's like a little sticker or something, you know, God loves you. But it's like, yeah, I know he loves me. It's like that's his job, you know. God has to love me. You know, it's kind of like, I love my father-in-law, but, like, do I like him? No. You know, like, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like that. Like, sometimes it feels like that with God, you know? Like, it's like, yeah, I know he loves me, you know, but, like, does he actually want to, like, hang out with me? Does he, you know, does he get excited when, you know, the phone lights up with my name on it, you know? Like, yeah, he does, and that's what's just so crazy. I wanted to see, could I actually use those two chairs for a second? Like, would y'all mind just bringing those up here for just a quick second as an illustration? Sorry. Yeah, I appreciate that. And can I have you right here, CJ? Could you take a seat right here? Thanks so much. I'll give him right back. Just a second. CJ, is that CJ? Is that your name?
Well, it stands for Carlos Julian.
Oh, Carlos Julian. Nice to meet you, man. I'm Bob. I love your shirt. That's the main reason I called you. Because it says Bob on it. All right. So I want you to imagine, for those of you who are visual learners, for a second, I want you to imagine that Carlos Julian is God. He's playing the role of God in this. You're like, oh, God's a SpongeBob fan? I guess he is. All right. And I play the role of everyone else. Okay, you, me. All right, now, this is the way we were created. God, you have anything to say before we start?
I love SpongeBob too.
Awesome. All right. So this is the way we were created, to be in relationship with God. Like, it's not like something that you discover at a night like this, like, oh, I figured it out. Like, I maybe the way I'll be happy is if I'm with God. No. The way we were actually created, like the way, you know, like in the structure of who we are and how we operate in our wiring, this is what we were made for. This is the only way that we experience true encounter. There's glimpses of it. Like, I love my wife. I've been married for 25 years. That's the closest thing I've seen and experienced to God's love. And she shows me that, like, in the way she loves me sometimes. But it doesn't perfectly satisfy. It doesn't perfectly make me happy in the way that an encounter with God makes you. So this is the way that we're made to be. And when we're baptized, you know, like, this is what happens. Like, we're born into God's family, and, you know, we have this relationship that's natural for us. But how does it happen that so many times, so many of us feel like this? Like, we feel like our backs are turned on God. And I would say that it's not because we have a bunch of, like, Satan worshipers in this room, all right? Like, I would say that there's probably not a ton of people here that are going to do, like, crack cocaine the second this thing ends, you know? Like, I would guess it's probably a lot like this, you know? Normal people, oh, God, this is cool, you know? Like, we're hanging out, yeah, I love SpongeBob, you know, whatever. But then, like, somehow, like, it's just a little distraction. Like, we're like, whoa, the world, you know? It's like, this is pretty awesome. I still see God. This is cool. I got kind of one foot in both. And then you're like, oh, this is good. Look at this, man. There's a lot of good-looking people over here I didn't even see. There's a lot of stuff in the world. There's all these things and all this stuff that's kind of like trying to fill my heart. And God's still in the peripheral. I didn't say, like, I hate God. You know, I still see you there. But little by little, like, we don't even mean it. But then somehow, and it's possible that this is the state that some of you are in right now in this room. Like, somehow you're like, I don't even know how it happened, but, like, my back is turned on God. And then what happens is, like, shame takes over. Like, that part of you that you're like, well, now that I'm turned on you, I might even know that God is back there, but you're like, you don't know what I've done. You don't know how, like, messed up and hurt I feel now. And so our tendency from the very beginning, like, if you read the story of the creation, it's like Adam and Eve, as soon as they realized, like, they messed up, what did they ran and hide, you know? And so this is like all of our reaction, for all of history is like, well, I'm going to hide from God, and I'm going to just try and figure out something to make me happy. And so we just kind of try and keep doing our thing. And when in reality, the answer the encounter that we want is right here. And it's not, God is not looking for us to prove ourselves or, flog ourselves or do anything. Like, all he's asking for this encounter to be corrected is just for reconciliation, And it's that you see that God never went anywhere. Like, when that reconciliation happens, this chair gets turned around, and we can't do it on our own. We can start, but like, this is where like the sacraments comes into play, and this is where it changes everything. So give a round of applause for Carlos, Julie, and CJ real quick. You guys can have your chairs back. So here's where we're bringing this into focus here as we close, all right? The Eucharist, okay, the sacraments, if you imagine like we're all on this journey to heaven, okay, so we're all on there, whether we know we want it or not, like, this is the reality, is like all of us long for God because we all long to be fulfilled. All right, so we all long ultimately for heaven, so we're on this path to heaven, and we have sidetracks and we, bumps and all this kind of stuff, but the on-ramps that are, on the highway, the interstate that's going right to heaven, the on-ramps are the sacraments, like, and they are getting you in the surest way to heaven, the surest way to satisfaction, the surest way to correct this relationship. And so the two sacraments we do that the most with are sacrament of reconciliation, which we had tonight, and is available always. And then the second one is the Eucharist. And I think sometimes we don't realize the gift of the Eucharist. I was thinking about this during the Mass, like are some of you guys, anyone in here going to the Eucharistic Congress thing in Indianapolis? Okay, so some of you guys, I'm going, so maybe I'll see you there, buy you a beer. But look, the whole reason we need a Eucharistic revival, is because it's kind of weird. Like, it's hard to imagine, that piece of bread, like in the transubstantiation, in the sacrifice of the Mass, and the priest's hand, like that changes into the body and blood of Jesus. Well, we need to have a revival to remind ourselves, like, wake up. Dude, the answer's right here. Like, and that's everything. Like, we don't have a revival, like a make-out revival, because like everyone's like, oh yeah, making out is fun, or it's awesome, or like no one has to remind us like, hey, this is like awesome, but like we do have to remind ourselves, like with the Eucharist, that like, dude, if you miss this, like you're missing everything. Like you were literally missing everything, because the Eucharist, that encounter thing I talked about in the beginning, the sliding the note over, the Eucharist flips that on its head, because what is happening in the Eucharist, and check, this is so weird to think about, but in the Eucharist, God is the one who is in the humbled seat, and he's putting him in all humility. He knows that, like, under the species, under the form of what looks like a wafer, so many people won't even know it's him. They won't even notice, Like, I'm worried about, like, oh, will Terry notice what I've done? Like, is this little green necklace thing I made her, Like, I'm, like, sweating, I'm nervous, But, like, God, this is God, nervous, in being humbled before us. Like, will they know, like, that I love them? How are you answering that note? Are you noticing what God is doing for you? If you look at the cross, I mean, the cross is this. It's that invitation, It's that Christ is like saying, like, is there anything else I could possibly do? He's stripped, he's beaten, he's bloody, he pours his life out on the cross. And it's like, is there any other length I could have gone to just to show you, I just want you to give me a chance, And still, so many of us, even at best, are just circling maybe. I don't know, maybe, because it's really hard to believe, or it's hard to understand, or a relationship. Like, if we're honest, relationships are difficult, and I think all of us want to have an encounter with God where we come into an event like this or something else, and it's like, fairy dust is sprinkled on us, and we leave just we're perfect and we're happy and stuff. But like, relationships are hard. And learning how to talk to someone is hard. On this podcast this morning, I was talking about the idea that, like, I have a daughter now. She's 24. She's getting married. Like, we've had having some intense, awesome conversations this summer, like, as she's preparing for that. But when she was a baby, like, I wasn't like, when she was, 14 months old, like, telling my wife, like, Kaylee can't even understand me. It's like I can't even talk to her, like I'm not, because you're like, well, because she's just learning. She's just learning to understand and speak. And for so many of us, like it takes years and years before we learn how to speak to God. Before we have to be patient, like it's not an absurd thing that 24 years now that I'm able to have some deep conversations that I've never been able to have with my daughter, before now. And so I think sometimes, like with the Eucharist, with prayer, with the encounter we long for with God, we're very impatient of ourselves. We have this plagued fear that maybe God can't handle us, and in reality, he can. That's the whole story of the incarnation, is that we have a God that's big enough to step into our messiness, and he wants us. I'll close with this story. So this past week, I was talking to a friend of mine, a guy that I've been discipling for a long time, and had this really intense moment where he was coming to grips that he had done some really bad things. Like, and to make a long story short, he had cheated on his wife, and it was like an explosion of fear and messiness, and it just all these things, like just the most horrible like thoughts going through his heart and his mind and stuff like this. But the grace-filled moment of this past week was that he had this literally come to Jesus moment where he went to confession. He sat down with his wife and begun this like unpacking of like this, what had happened. Like this is horrible. It's a long, painful journey ahead of him. And the reason I close with this is because like the one thing I was telling him is like, this is going to be one of the most horrible and one of the most, grace-filled moments of your life. Horrible because it's coming clean, right? It's facing like some of the reality of sin. Sin is messy, and sin is bad, and sin is about destruction. Sin is not fun. It's not happy. It's not all these things that the world makes out as no big deal. It's a big deal. But the greatest part of this is that like you are finally going to experience a love from God like that you've never experienced before, because there's so much, like as we talked, there's so much of himself that he's been hiding from God. Because again, I think that's our reaction, is that like we want this encounter, but we think I better hide from, not that like God wouldn't know, like God couldn't tell if we were lying to him, but there's this reality of saying like, okay, this is who I am. These are my faults. This is like just standing naked before God. It's like I am so broken. I have nothing to offer. And then you, in the midst of all that, allow yourself to be loved. That's the kind of love we're talking about in the encounter with God. It's saying, like St. Francis said, you are who you are in the eyes of God, nothing more, nothing less. Like, and there's this freedom of being loved where you stand before, like, and it takes a lot of courage because it's messy, but of standing before God or sometimes another person. I've had this encounter with my wife, like, and you're like, this is who I am, and I've made, mistakes. I haven't made that mistake, but like I've made mistakes, and I've there's ugly parts of who I am, and to feel loved anyway by my wife was like a small reflection of God's love, where it's like, God, I don't know what to do with this mess, and God says, I love you. You're mine. You belong to me. I delight in you. When I said in the beginning, God, as we start, God, think about how God delights in you. He doesn't just delight in the good boys and girls that are sprinkled throughout here, because there aren't any, all right, for starters. And second of all, he delights in you and all your messiness, and he longs for encounter with you. And so I want you to think next time you're going to receive the Eucharist, think of that image of God making that invitation to you. Like, do you like me? Like, will you give me a chance? Don't pass up on what the encounter that the Eucharist that we have, or that's offered to us in the Eucharist, because I think for so many of us, we miss it. And that's the heart of this revival, that we come back and say, like, God, I need you to reconvince me. And that's an okay prayer to pray. Like, God, I need you to convince me. I need you to bring me back. I need you to show me. I need you to love me. I need you to convince me that you actually love me, that you're real. You know, whatever it is that your doubt is. So I'm over time. Do you want me to call you up, Angie? How do you want to? What's that? Okay, so Carmel, you might recognize her from earlier. She's awesome. Are you going to close in prayer, or can I close in prayer? I can do it. Okay, let's close in prayer. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Jesus, we thank you. We thank you for being here with us tonight. I thank you that somehow each of us are here in this room together with you. And I thank you for the way that you keep seeking after us, even when we're seeking after so many other things, that you notice us when we don't notice you. Thank you that you long for encounter with us, even when we are totally unaware that you're present. Lord, I ask that you would reconvince us, that you would bring us back to your heart of who you are, that you would have a personal revival within each of us, that we would be drawn to you in your real presence, especially in the Eucharist. We thank you for the gift that you are in our life, and we thank you for your love. We love you. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Carmel.
Thank you, Bob. All right, Bob, you ready? I need you in the hot seat so you can answer these questions. All right. Thank you guys for submitting these questions. I'll start with...
They texted you the questions?
Pardon?
People texted you questions?
Well, not me personally. They filled it. They scanned the QR code, and I'm getting questions in real time. Thank you.
That's cool.
All right, Bob. One question that came in. How do you share the Eucharist with someone who isn't Catholic?
I'm assuming you mean share about the Eucharist. I know you didn't write the question. Well, I mean, there's two different ways. I mean, I feel like if you're meaning, like, how do you share the Eucharist? I mean, obviously you can't give someone the Eucharist who's not Catholic, but I work with Inner City, with Vagabond Missions. That's a nonprofit me and my wife started for inner city kids. Most of the kids that we work with aren't Catholic. So, like, when we go to Mass, we normally bring a bus or some vans of kids to Mass, and the whole thing is like foreign for them. The cool thing is like you could still be present in the presence of God. You could still experience the Eucharist in that way. You know, obviously, you can go up for a blessing and still kind of experience God. Like, it's not in the full communion kind of way. So that's an option of just, someone could still come. I mean, it's a little bit of a weird experience if you've never, ever been to a Mass before. Like, the inner city kids always think it's so funny when everyone sits up and stands down at the same time. Like, and it reminds me, it makes me think of, like, oh yeah, there's a lot of funny things like that. I never really think about, like, being Catholic. But if it means, like, as far as how do you share about it, like, I think you just have to be honest that it's like, this sounds kind of crazy, you know? And when Jesus talked about it in John 6, it says people start saying that. Like, this is crazy, this is hard to believe. It says, like a whole bunch of his followers, people have been following him around looking for him to do miracles and stuff. They actually leave. And he doesn't ever stop anyone and say, like, oh, hold on, you're just getting it wrong or whatever. Like, he lets them go. And so, like, I think in the same way we have to, like, not be embarrassed. There's been times, like, where a friend, or even, like, sometimes an inner city kid, like, you know, at first I'll be like, well, we have this belief, you know, that, like, the bread up there changes into Jesus' flesh. You know, it's like, it's like so embarrassing or something. But, like, I think sometimes it's, like, better to just phrase it like, okay, this is what happens. You know, the priest says his prayers. God gives God gave the priest this power. You know, in the Last Supper, that this piece of bread, it actually changes into God. And it's the most awesome gift in the world. Instead of saying, well, like, we believe this, or some of us believe, I think it's better sometimes to just phrase it like, this is truth, and that sometimes I think it kind of gets past a lot of barriers, And then the other thing is if someone was like weirded out or something, I just, it's okay. It's okay, like, to just let, I get it. It is kind of a wild thing but anything with God is weird if you think about it. Like, God created the world, you're like, literally every single thing about God is weird. This is just in the long line of weird things about God. So, like, if you accept God at all, you accept weird stuff. This is just like something specific, so.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. How can we introduce and incorporate God's presence into the lives of men who feel isolated and lonely, helping them find purpose and connection?
A real easy way that you can incorporate it is incorporate it into your daily life. You know what I mean? Like, God's presence, obviously, like, we could pray on our couch. That's where I pray every day, on my couch. I wake up early before anyone else is up in my house. I sit there, have some coffee, like in the same spot on the couch. It's kind of like my little special moment with God. And God's present there, but it's not present in the same way that it's present in the Eucharist, And so there are places like here, St. Vincent de Paul, like they have an adoration chapel. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of churches with adoration chapels, And so if that was something that was built into, like, maybe it's not too far out of your way to work, or maybe there's one day a week that like you could, like, eat lunch in your office and go to a little bit of time with Jesus. Like, those are the things that we learn. Like I was talking at the end about learning how to talk, learning how to be in relationship, learning how to be loved even. Like, we have to do those things in order to learn. We don't just all of a sudden understand the real presence. It takes time to be in there. So I would say, like, one of the best things you can incorporate into is incorporate it into your daily life.
Awesome. Thank you, Bob. We've got one more question, if you don't mind.
All right.
Well, maybe it's a two-part question. One, when are you bringing Vagabond to Houston? And two, what has been the biggest way you've seen God move with the people you minister to in Vagabond Ministries?
I have no idea if it will come to Houston. You guys have some great ministry down here too, but maybe it will. Who knows? I would kind of move regionally. We have some that are down south, but it's mainly like Alabama, Baton Rouge. So that's not too far, right? Louisiana, it's pretty much Texas, right? All right. I would say the biggest way that I've seen God work in the lives of, like, the inner city kids that we work with is just, and this is really freeing for me. Like I mentioned that, it's just learning to let God love you in mess, like their conversion, like the conversion that they encounter is very messy, but it's very real. And I just realized, like, this is mostly like how God works in the church, like, or works in our lives in ongoing conversion, all this kind of stuff. It's like, it's messy and it's slow. Once in a while, there's like these St. Paul-like conversions where someone falls off the horse, you see a miracle, you get struck by lightning or something. But for most of us, it's like, no, it's pretty slow and it's pretty bumpy, and like we fall and then we grow and then, all this kind of stuff. But with the inner city kids, sometimes it's like very messy, but it's very awesome. Like, I've had times where, like, we have had adoration with some of the inner city kids, and it'd be like a ton of like on a big retreat or something, and a priest comes in holding the monstrance and stuff. If you've ever been to adoration, it's really awesome. Puts the monstrance on the altar and then walks out. And I, like, had this kid one time afterwards. He was like, he was crying and he was like, he's like, when that one guy came in with that gold thing, he's like, I felt like God was saying to me, like, I want you to do what this man does. Like, he didn't even know he was a priest. He had no idea what the gold thing was. But, like, it was so cool. Like, just, it wasn't like he was being set up. Like, he was encountering it like authentically, and so like what that helps me remind is like it's okay for you to encounter God in just who you are. You don't have to be just like someone else or encounter God in a certain way. Like God is coming to you in your own weirdness. And then the other thing is just in your own messiness. Like later than that night, that kid got into a huge fight. We got to call the police. It's like, but he had like a powerful encounter with Jesus like an hour before in the Eucharist, and an hour later he's getting arrested. But it's like that's most of our story. It might not be quite that extreme, but it's like God is okay with that. God's like, I have a plan for you. I have a plan for you. So, yeah.
Thank you so much, Bob, for being with us tonight and traveling with us. All right. Before we end tonight, we do have just a few announcements.
All right, so first we definitely want to invite, go ahead, guys. The baskets are coming around one more time, even though we already met our goal. But, we did have a little bit of a setback last week. Yeah. I don't know if I told you guys the story. Because of the hurricane, because every year for Cardinals Night, what do we eat? Do you guys remember? Vietnamese sandwiches. And so I called the guys that were making the sandwiches on Sunday when I got the word that we had to cancel, and they were like, oh, we already made the sandwiches. So we're about $1,000 short already. So yes, if you will still pass the baskets, go ahead, Louise. Gotta let the basket go. So if you are able to give a little bit more this week, we'd appreciate it. Because of that, the sandwiches I think found a good home. I'll find out where that home was, but yeah. That's what hurricanes do. They put us a little bit behind. But anyway, next week is going to be, we're back here, same time, same place, Monday, July 22nd for the second night of Cafe Catholica. And next week we're going to be welcoming, our speaker is Kim Zember. And Kim is a Catholic speaker who shares her experience surrendering her same-sex desires to Jesus in pursuit of a greater love that she has found in him. Her talk is titled Restless Heart, Facing Struggles of Identity and Sexuality. So guys, every year at Cafe Catholica, and by the way, this is the 25th year of Cafe Catholica, which is awesome. Every year we address the sexuality talk, right? Or we talk about relationships. We know that's a big deal for everyone in the young adult age range. Every year we get the question, what about those who identify as LGBTQ? What do we do with that? How do I love my coworkers who are LGBTQ? How do I exist in a world where this is such a prevalent thing? And this is the first time in Cafe Catholica history that we are going to address it. So I hope you guys will come. It's going to be a beautiful night. It's going to be a very important message that I think all of us kind of are dealing and struggling with it in some way. We probably all have friends that or people that are in our lives that are identifying that way. So we're going to dive into that topic with a really solid Catholic who's going to lead us in that. We hope you'll join us.
And also, y'all, please remember to sign up for one of the Cafe Connect discussion groups tonight so that you can journey with us for the remaining 3 weeks with your new friends that you've made here. But spaces are limited, so and open on a first-come, first-served basis. So please get on that clicky thing on your phone. And sign up. And at the conclusion of our evening, don't forget about the YCP happy hours. Mama's going to bed after this. But y'all do that. Have fun. Mix and mingle. And it will be at the Cellar Bar. And details for that are on page 5. And finally, as we end tonight, can I update y'all on our fundraiser thermometer to see where we are? We are over 2,000, but how much? Over?
So far, $2,049.
All right, $2,049. Thank you, y'all. Round of applause for everyone. Thank you so much for your generosity. And thank you again. Like Angie mentioned, it is the 25th Cafe Catholica this year, so I do encourage you all to prayerfully consider donating this year so that we can continue this awesome series every summer. Thank you again for coming. Don't forget to sign up for a Cafe Connect discussion group tonight. Have a good evening. Have fun if you're going to the Cellar Bar. And please get home safely. And we'll see you all back here, same time, same place, next Monday. Thanks, guys.
That's what's going to go during
Cafe Catholica team. If you are a Cafe Catholica team member, please report to the front of the church, please, right here at the altar. Thank you.